Recently with the ICE raids, it's been quite upsetting, so I wanted to make a short video just discussing some of the economic impacts of what this means for the US. This should go without saying, but mass deportation, empirically speaking, research does not support the claim that deporting a bunch of people along the southwest border of the US is going to decrease violent crime rates in America. With Trump's big beautiful bill, it was announced that $160 billion would be going to ICE specifically to increase the number of deportations. And so if you take a look at this time last year in 2024, the daily amount of people that would be getting arrested of undocumented people was 300 people per day. Within the first 10 days of June, for comparison, that number rose to 1,200 people per day. Historically speaking, the direct cost to house these people, to transport these people, the legal processing fees, accounts to about $10,000 to $17,000 per person. And then the indirect cost, the opportunity cost in terms of lost productivity and consumer spending, accounts to around $30,000 to $50,000 per person. In comparison, every dollar spent on public transit equates to a return on investment over the lifetime of that project of $4 to $5 for every dollar spent on public transit. That is from the dollars going towards service providers, the vendors, the suppliers, the wages from the workers that are spent in the local economies which those projects are developed. And then additionally, the access to more jobs. So typically it increases the labor pool for every business that's looking for people, but also the accessibility to jobs. So this mass deportation is going to impact certain sectors more than others. So housing, construction, agriculture, food processing, that sort of thing. So to give you some perspective, it's estimated that 40% of those working on farms in the US are undocumented people, right? So this sort of mass deportation can actually cripple industries that are quite labor intensive, right? But essentially, best case scenario, what would happen is wages would have to increase in these more labor intensive industries like agriculture, where I just mentioned 40% of people on farms are estimated to be undocumented. Wages would have to increase to get native born workers to sort of take up those jobs. That's a best case scenario. Worst case scenario is just that those jobs do not get filled, which I think is probably more realistic. And then there'd be shortages in production, right? America just simply wouldn't be able to produce as much food. Supply would go down, prices would go up. But the US government has essentially promised to bail them out and support farms specifically, like considering what's going on, systematically speaking. So we know that the basis of why they're doing this mass deportation just isn't true. Removing a bunch of undocumented people, a bunch of immigrants from the population does not lower violent crime rates, especially if you're doing it indiscriminately. But we also know that the people that they're removing are vital workers, right? They have a way higher participation rate in the labor force compared to those that are native born, especially in sectors that are really labor intensive, as I mentioned, agriculture, housing, construction, hospitality as well. But I mean, these are sectors that are really important to the economy and the people living in these systems. And just in general, right? Like we need housing, we need food, like, you know. So yeah, it's really unfortunate to see. And the economic impact, I think, are pretty clear. It's just more of a cost for people, if anything. Whereas this money could have been invested into social programs, it could have been invested into public infrastructure, subways, roads, it could have been invested into education, it could have been invested into daycares, it could have been invested into healthcare, what have you.